A long time ago, Earth was powerful. It had strong armies, smart scientists, and weapons that could destroy planets. But after a terrible war that almost ended humanity, Earth made a decision. It would stop fighting. It would become peaceful. The world leaders agreed to turn Earth into something new, a planet of farming, healing, and rebuilding. Centuries passed, Earth became known only as a quiet farming colony. It grew food for other planets and stayed away from galactic politics. The people were simple. They grew wheat, raised animals, and sent supplies across the stars. Other planets laughed at Earth. The farmers, they said, good for nothing but vegetables. But Earth was watching. Earth was waiting. In the year 9215, a new danger appeared in the galaxy. They were called the Zarn. No one knew where they came from. Their ships were black, sharp, and moved without sound. They didn't speak. They didn't ask questions. They just attacked. One planet after another fell. The Galactic Council, the group that ruled the stars, was terrified. They sent fleets, sent peace talks. Nothing worked. The Zarn destroyed 10 planets in the first month. In 2 months, they took the Council's outer colonies. They didn't even slow down. Desperate, the Council asked every planet for help. Mars sent its drones. Titan sent its shock troops. Even the old mining colonies sent fighters. But no one called Earth. "We need warriors, not wheat," one general joked. The room laughed. On Earth, in a small colony called Greenvale, the sky was clear. The fields were golden. A young boy named Eli worked beside his grandfather, carrying baskets of tomatoes. Birds flew above. The air was quiet, peaceful. But then a sound came from the sky. It was soft at first, a pulse, like a heartbeat, then another, then a deep hum. Grandfather stopped. He looked at the sky and frowned. "That sound," he whispered. Eli listened. "It's just thunder." His grandfather shook his head. "No, that's not thunder. That's the signal." He dropped the basket and walked to the edge of the field. He pulled out a small silver device from under his coat. He pressed it. A beam of blue light shot into the sky. Far above, beyond the clouds, something answered. In deep orbit, something massive began to move. It was not a satellite. It was not a ship. It was something else. Hidden for centuries, it had floated silently around Earth, cloaked and invisible. But now, it turned. Lights blinked on. Engines swarmed. Old systems activated. Inside it, a voice said one word: awakened. Back in Greenvale, other farmers stopped working. Old men looked to the sky. Young women pulled tools from barns, but not farming tools. Weapons. Boxes hidden under hay bales were unlocked. Inside them were machines that glowed, guns with no bullets, and armor made of liquid metal. The farmers were not just farmers. Eli watched as his grandfather walked to the barn and pressed his hand to the wall. A hidden door opened. Stairs led down into darkness. "Come," he said. Eli followed him into the underground tunnel. Lights blinked on as they walked. The air smelled of oil and old metal. He reached a steel door with a red handprint scanner. His grandfather placed his hand. The scanner flashed green. The door opened. Eli gasped. Before him was a huge room. Screens. Machines. Strange floating orbs. And in the center, something glowing, humming. It was tall, round, covered in markings he didn't understand. "What is this?" Eli asked. "It's a beacon," his grandfather said. "It hasn't been used in 300 years. What does it do? It calls the past." The beacon sent a pulse into space. A ripple of energy traveled faster than light, jumping between secret satellites placed long ago. Somewhere on a dead moon, a hidden base lit up. Deep beneath Mars, a machine woke from sleep. On an asteroid drifting near Saturn, a weapon opened its eye. Earth was never empty. Earth was never weak. It had just been waiting on the Zarn ship. Far from Earth, alarms rang. The ship's scanners picked up the pulse. The leader of the Zarn, a tall creature with a body of shifting armor, turned toward the signal. His black eyes glowed. "Origin, Earth," said the computer. "Farming colony," said another. The leader spoke for the first time in years. Prepare to attack. On the Council's homeworld, the leaders met again. The Zarn are heading to Earth, said one frightened ambassador. Earth, the general laughed. Let them take it, Nita. Protect real targets. No, said an old man in the corner. His voice was quiet. You don't understand. Earth is not what you think. The room turned silent. Explain, said the council leader. I worked with Earth a long time ago. Before the farming began, there was a project, a secret one. Kind of project? The old man looked out the window. A war machine. On Earth, the sky turned strange. Clouds formed a circle above Greenvale. Lightning crackled without sound. The beacon had reached its full power. A new signal was sent. It went beyond the stars, deeper, into a dark part of the galaxy, where no one dared go. Something there answered. A machine the size of a mountain opened its eyes. Rust fell from its body. Lights turned on and engines hummed. It had not moved in 400 years, and now it did. Back in Greenvale, Eli asked his grandfather, "What's happening?" "You're being tested," the old man said. "Galaxy thinks." "We are farmers. Let them think so. But what do we do now?" "Now we prepare." He turned and walked deeper into the underground base. Others joined him, men and women of all ages. They put on armor, activated drones, and checked weapons that hadn't been touched in centuries. Outside, the animals remained calm. The birds flew. The crops swayed in the wind. It was just another peaceful day on Earth. But deep below, war was. Waking in orbit, the cloaked ship, now fully powered, sent its own signal. A system called Protocol Hammer activated. It was Earth's last weapon. A weapon no one in the Council even remembered. 9 minutes. That was all it would take once the protocol was ready. 9 minutes to end a war. 9 minutes to show the galaxy the truth. The Zarn fleet approached Earth. Hundreds of ships. Black as shadow. Silent. Deadly. They moved fast, expecting no resistance. They did not see the mines hidden in Earth's orbit. They did not see the cloaked drones floating in the upper atmosphere. They saw only fields, forests, blue oceans. A quiet planet, a peaceful world. The leader of the Zarn smiled. Destroy it. But below, the farmers had finished preparing. The beacon turned red. The countdown had begun, and Earth was no longer silent. The Zarn ships floated like shadows above Earth. They didn't attack yet. They circled, scanned, watched. They expected a weak world, a farming colony, soft target. But nothing was soft here in Greenvale. The beacon under the fields kept sending pulses. It was ancient technology, older than Eli could understand. The light from it was deep blue, humming in slow waves. Every time it pulsed, something far away answered back. At first, nothing changed. The fields were quiet. The skies were still. Birds flew. Wind moved the tall grass. But under the surface, Earth systems were waking. One of those systems was on the far side of the moon, hidden deep in a crater, covered in dust, was a long-forgotten station. No doors, no lights, no life. But when the beacon pulsed, a red light blinked once, then again. Then the whole station came alive. Metal panels opened, antennas lifted, lasers moved into position. Inside the station, a single AI powered on. It spoke its first words in 300 years. Protocol link received. Earth status, active. Threat level, Zarn confirmed. Defense priority, level Omega. The station aimed its sensors at the incoming fleet. Back on Earth, Eli followed his grandfather into the second chamber underground. He had never seen this room. Before, it was shaped like a hexagon, with 6 strange machines standing in a circle. Each had a screen showing alien symbols and a countdown timer. "What are these?" Lee asked. "Sleepers," his grandfather said. "Each one calls a different guardian. Guardians, you'll see." The countdown showed 8 minutes left. Something big was coming. In space, one of the Council's secret listening posts picked up the Earth signal. It wasn't just a distress call. It was a coded order, signal that should not exist anymore. one that was supposed to be destroyed long ago. A young council officer rushed into the command room. "Commander, we're receiving a pulse. It's human. From where?" "Earth." "Earth doesn't have military tech." The officer hesitated. "Sir, this signal is from the deep black net." The room went silent. "Impossible," someone whispered. The deep black net was Earth's old war signal network. It was shut down hundreds of years ago after the last Great War. Every terminal was destroyed. Every connection erased, except, maybe not. Another officer shouted, "Sir, the Zarn are redirecting their fleet toward Earth." The commander turned, pale. This changes everything. He opened a secure channel to the Galactic Council. "We have a situation." In Greenvale, the people worked quietly and quickly. The old farmers had dropped their tools and picked up weapons. Not modern blasters, but strange metallic rods that floated in the air and hummed with power. One woman carried a silver cube to the town center. She placed it into the ground. It clicked. Light spread out like a web. A shield generator. Children were taken underground. Every door was sealed. Every barn locked. But above ground, the town looked normal. The trap was set. Eli followed a woman named Mira, one of the older defenders. She handed him a pair of strange goggles and said, "Put these on." He did. Suddenly he could see things he couldn't before laser. Paths hidden in the air, floating drones the size of insects, and glowing lines across the ground like a net. "What is all this?" he asked. "Welcome to real Earth," Mira said. At the same time, far away, a Zarn scout ship flew toward Earth's orbit. It was small and fast, scanning everything it passed. As it approached Greenvale, it slowed. Inside, 2 Zarn soldiers looked. At the data, Primitive One said, "No active weapons. Prepare landing." They sent a message back to the fleet, but they didn't know Earth saw them coming. In a small building outside Greenvale, a hidden console lit up. A woman with silver eyes pressed a button. A flash of light hit the Zarn scout ship. It vanished without a sound. The fleet noticed. "Scout ship offline," one officer reported. The Zarn leader hissed. "Send 2 more." The council, watching from afar, tried to contact Earth. No reply. They sent a small ship and marked, "Fast." With one pilot inside was a spy. Human, trained in stealth. She landed far from Greenvale and began walking. As she got closer, her scanner showed strange readings. Power levels too high for a farming colony. Shield patterns she didn't recognize. And a pulse. She followed it into the woods, found a hatch, opened it, and disappeared. No signal, no sound, nothing. The council lost contact. Now they were nervous. Back on Earth, the countdown reached 5 minutes. The beacon's pulses were stronger. Even the animals could feel it. Dogs barked, horses whined, birds flew away in space. The old station near the moon opened one final chamber. Inside was a giant ring of metal with sharp teeth, a weapon called the Maw. It had only one function: to erase anything it targeted. It locked onto the Zarn fleet. But it did not fire. Not yet. In Greenvale, Eli stood in front of a long wall. His grandfather placed his hand on it. The wall opened. Inside was something Eli never imagined. A massive silver robot, taller than a house, sat on one knee. Its chest had a glowing red crystal. Its eyes were closed. "This is a guardian?" Eli whispered. One of them, his grandfather, said, "Earth doesn't just fight. Earth remembers." Eli stepped closer. The robot's eyes opened. "Guardian 4 online," it said. "Hello, child?" Eli stepped back in shock. The robot turned its head, looked at his grandfather. "Commander." "Ren. Orders." "Stand by," the old man said. "We wait for the signal." Back in space, the Zarn had made their decision. Send the destroyers. The leader said 10 massive ships left the main fleet and moved toward Earth. From orbit, they looked down on the farming colony. It was peaceful, still no defense. Land. In Greenvale, burn everything. They didn't know that Earth had been watching every word. The beacon pulsed red underground in the command room. Alarms blared. "Signal received," the AI voice said. "Protocol hammer, 80% charged." Outside in the fields, nothing moved, but under the ground. Everything was ready. One of the destroyers came low. Flying just above the trees, it opened its weapons, just as it prepared to fire. The fields lit up. Dozens of hidden weapons activated. Beams of pure energy shot into the sky. The first destroyer didn't even have time to react. It exploded in a burst of light and fire. The second tried to turn too late. A laser net sliced through it, cutting it in half. The rest of the Zarn ships started retreating. But now, Earth was awake. Guardian 4 stepped out of the underground base, its metal feet crushing the soil. "Enemy detected," it said. "Engaging." It launched into the air, flying straight into the sky above. The orbital station fired the maw. A silent beam shot through space 1 second later. 3 more Zarn ships were gone. On the ground, more farmers came out, wearing armor and holding weapons that shimmered. Eli stood beside his grandfather, watching the skies turn red. "Are we safe?" he asked. "Not yet," Ren said. "They haven't sent their real weapon." Eli looked at him. "What could be worse than this?" Ren pointed at the sky. "Something old. Something they stole." The beacon pulsed again. The countdown hit 1 minute. Somewhere far away, something dark and powerful answered the call, and it was heading toward Earth fast. The sky above Greenvale was no longer blue. It burned red with fire and smoke as parts of the destroyed Zarn ships fell like black rain. In the middle of the chaos, the farming colony stood firm. The shield dome over Greenvale shimmered. Not a single house was damaged. Not one animal hurt. But the people inside were no longer just farmers. They were soldiers in silence. Eli stood beside his grandfather, Commander Ren, at the edge of the underground command room. Dozens of large screens showed data, targeting paths, and strange energy readings. The countdown was at 30 seconds. The entire colony waited, far above the ancient warship in Earth's orbit, once silent, now awake, prepared to unlock its final system. Protocol hammer, a weapon Earth had never used, not once, not even during the last galactic war. Commander Ren pressed a button. A map of Greenvale appeared. Hidden locations lit up one by one, places Eli had passed all his life. The old windmill, the abandoned silo, the empty church. All of them had secrets. "Show him," Ren said. Mira, the colony's tech commander, nodded. She touched the panel. The ground around Greenvale began to rumble. From under the wheat fields, massive metal doors opened. Dust flew. Birds scattered. Something rose from the earth. Not machines, not tanks, not even ships. It was a machine city. A full underground base built under Greenvale. Hidden for over 200 years, long metal arms moved. Cannons unfolded. Drones flew in formation from barns that were actually launch pads. The cowshed, it was a mobile repair unit. The greenhouse, a missile control center. Every single structure in the colony had a second purpose. Eli stared in silence. "All this time," he whispered. Mira smiled. "This is what Earth really is. We grow food on the surface and grow weapons below." In orbit, the Galactic Council was now fully alert. Their intelligence station picked up the signal from Earth's protocol hammer. One of the generals stood and shouted, "That system is still functional?" "It was banned," another answered. "Earth never banned it. We just forgot what Earth was." The council leader gave one command: "Send a team. Now." It was already too late. The Zarn weren't waiting anymore. They sent their true weapon. From the heart of their fleet, something began to fall. Not a ship, not a missile. It looked like a stone, rough and pulsing with red cracks. Inside it, something ancient was alive. The council once gave it a name: the Dark Core, a creature made of shadow, metal, and hate, half biological, half machine. It had destroyed 3 planets by itself during the early years of the Zarn rise. No defense worked against it. The council thought it had vanished. Now they saw it again, falling toward Earth in Greenvale. Ren watched the data. His voice was calm but cold. "They brought the core," he said. Eli asked, "What is that?" Ren didn't look away from the screen, something not even we understand. The core crashed into the forest outside Greenvale with a deep boom. Trees shattered, ground shook, animals fled, and then silence until it rose. Over 20 meters tall, covered in dark armor that looked like black bone. Its eyes glowed red.
Yo.
It didn't walk, it glided without touching the ground. Earth's orbital. Station tried to scan it. Scan failed. The maw fired again, but the beam bent around the core like water. Drones attacked. Burned like paper. The Guardian robots, big and strong, launched toward it, but the core was faster. It smashed Guardian 2 into the ground. Guardian 5 tried to stop it, but was ripped in half. Eli watched the screen as Earth's best machines were torn apart. "What do we do now?" he asked. Mira looked at the countdown. "Protocol hammer is almost charged." "But it's not ready," Ren said. "We need more time." "How much?" 7 minutes. Everyone in the room went quiet outside. The core was now near Greenvale. The shield dome was the only thing between it and the colony. The core floated up to the shield and touched it with one black hand. The shield flickered, cracked, and started to break. Inside the dome, the people of Greenvale didn't run. They moved into defense positions. Traps were armed, energy lines rerouted. But still, the core came. Eli turned to his grandfather. "Can't we stop it?" Ren slowly reached into a small metal case beside his chair. He took out something wrapped in cloth, unfolded it. A glowing cube. Faint blue light pulsed from inside. "This was only to be used once," he said, "and only by blood." He handed it to Eli. Eli shook his head. I don't know what this is." "You will," Ren said. "You're the last key. What do I do?" "Go to the machine core under the church. Put this inside. You'll know where." Eli ran. Outside, the core broke through the shield. One step inside the colony, its body hummed with energy. The defenders opened fire. It didn't blink. It didn't bleed. The core began destroying everything in its path. It didn't even use weapons, just energy burst from its body. Trees burned. Buildings melted. The cowshed repair unit was ripped apart. Then the core turned toward the town square, toward the machine heart of Greenvale, inside the church. Eli ran down spiral stairs into the lowest chamber. The walls pulsed with light. Machines hummed. Around him, in the center, a strange socket waited. He placed the glowing cube inside. The lights turned red, and Earth's true war machine opened its eyes. The floor shifted. Huge circular panel opened like a mouth. And rising from it, taller than the core itself, came Earth's final machine. It had no name. Built by human hands 400 years ago and hidden from the stars, it was the last defense. 10 glowing arms. A single blue eye. Its voice shook the walls. System locked. Human key accepted. Combat protocol. Final stand. The machine stepped out of the church, crushing the steps behind it. It looked at the core. The core turned to face it. The two monsters stared at each other in silence. Then they attacked. Faster than sound, they moved through the colony like storms, crashing into each other, breaking ground, burning sky. The core tried to use its energy waves, but the Earth's machine absorbed them. It hit back with sonic blasts that bent metal. Mira, watching from command, shouted, "Protocol hammer, 98%. Ren leaned forward. "Hold the core in place. Just 1 minute longer." The Earth's machine wrapped its arms around the core, lifting it off the ground. The core screamed a terrible, high-pitched sound that made birds fall from the sky. The machine did not stop. "Target locked," said the AI from orbit. 20 seconds. The core tried to break free. Its armor cracked. Black mist poured out. The machine's grip tightened. 10 seconds. The sky opened. A blue beam, brighter than the sun, came down from the orbiting warship. It struck the core. Everything froze. Then, in one silent flash, the core was gone. So was the Earth machine. Only a smoking crater remained. The countdown reached 0. Protocol hammer had fired, and in 9 minutes, Earth had stopped the war. Silence returned to Greenvale. The skies cleared. The Zarn fleet turned and vanished without a word, without a fight. Their leader was gone. Their secret weapon destroyed. They understood now Earth was not weak. Earth had simply been patient. Eli stood at the edge of the crater, wind in his hair, eyes wide. Behind him, the people of Greenvale gathered. Commander. Ren walked beside him, placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's over," Eli whispered. Ren nodded. For now, it's far away. Beyond known space, another enemy watched the data. They had been planning to invade Earth after the Zarn were finished. Now, they changed their minds. Earth had spoken, and the galaxy listened. The sky above Greenvale had gone quiet again. The red glow was gone. The clouds were broken. The birds slowly returned. But something in the air still felt heavy, like the battle had only paused, not ended. The Zarn had vanished from orbit, but no one trusted it. Not yet. Eli sat on the edge of the burned crater where Earth's final machine had destroyed the core. His face was dirty, his arms bruised, but his eyes were sharp. Behind him, the town was silent. They had won the first fight, but it wasn't over. Underground Commander Ren was watching the satellite feeds. The orbital station above Earth had picked up something strange. "We have movement," Myra said, pointing at the screen. "XRN." Ren asked. "No," she said. "Something else." A small craft was entering Earth's atmosphere. It had no weapons, no escorts. But it was fast. It was heading straight toward Greenvale. "It's not cloaked," Ren added. "They want to be seen. Landing in 4 minutes," said the AIWREN. "Press the emergency signal. All units prepare. The enemy is coming to land." Out in the fields, the hidden defenses reset. The shield dome began to recharge. Drones flew out of old barns and into formation. Mechs took positions inside broken houses. Everyone was ready, but they didn't know what was coming. Eli stood with a few young defenders on a hill, watching the sky. Then they saw it. A long black ship's leak and sharp like a dagger cut through the clouds. It didn't make a sound. It didn't burn. Just ... arrived. The ship hovered for a moment, then slowly landed in the center of the road leading to the town. It didn't move. No doors opened. No weapons appeared. 10 minutes passed. Nothing then. With a hiss, the ship's side opened. A long ramp lowered to the ground. Smoke poured out, and from inside the shadows, something stepped forward. Not a Zarn. Something worse. A tall humanoid figure made of both metal and flesh. Its arms were long and sharp. Its face was smooth, but with no mouth, just 2 glowing eyes and a cold silver skull. Behind it, 5 more stepped out, silent, straight, perfect in every motion. Eli whispered, "Who are they?" Ren answered through his earpiece, "They're the architects." Architects, the ones who built the Zarn, and then abandoned them. Eli's eyes widened. "They made them." "Yes," Ren said. "And now they've come to see." "What destroyed their creation?" The architect leader slowly walked toward Greenvale. Not rushing, not hiding, just observing. He stopped at the town gate. The shield was active again, glowing faintly blue. But the architect didn't care. He placed one hand on the shield, and it disappeared just like that. No power surge, no warning, just gone. Ren and Mira watched in silence. That shield had survived the core. This time it vanished in 1 second. "They have control tech," Mira said. "It's better than anything we've seen." "Can't stop them," Ren replied. Eli stepped forward with the others. He raised his plasma rifle. The architect looked at him, but didn't move. Instead, he raised one hand and spoke through thought. A voice echoed in Eli's head. "You destroyed the core. You used the forbidden machine. You've revealed yourselves." Eli didn't understand. "Why are you here?" "To see if Earth remembers who it truly is." Behind the architect, a second group of machines moved out. These were larger, 4-legged walkers with blinking lights. Each one had a scanner. They began to move through Greenvale, measuring, analyzing. studying the colony like insects crawling on a leaf. One of them moved toward the underground hatch that led to the command base. Commander Eli whispered into his mic. "There. Heading for the core chamber." "Let them," Ren replied. "This is what they want." Mira stepped beside him. "We have 20 drones hidden in the walls. Should we attack?" "No," Ren said. "Not yet. Let them believe we're still." Farmers. Back on the surface, the architect leader walked past Eli without fear. His metal feet didn't touch the ground. He moved like mist. Then he stopped at the town square where Earth's final machine had once stood. He raised both hands, and a hologram appeared. It showed the galaxy, stars, worlds, lights blinking one by one. Then, one by one, each light blinked out. "This is what's coming," the voice said. "The real enemy, the one we ran from. It has found us again." Eli tried to speak. "What enemy? We don't know its name. But we know it watches, listens. It saw your machine, saw protocol hammer. Now it knows Earth is awake." Of the younger defenders, Juno shouted from behind, "Why should we believe you?" The architect turned to her. "Because we created the last threat, and we were destroyed by it." Behind them, one of the spider walkers beeped loudly. It had found something. A piece of the final machine's broken core still humming with leftover energy. The architect turned back to Eli. "This energy is forbidden. It breaks the rules of this universe. Calls what should not be called." Myra spoke over comms. "Sir, we've got a signal. Deep space. Unknown origin." Something responded to the hammer blast. Ren's voice was low. "It begins." Suddenly the architect's ship lit up. An alarm hyped and fast. Machines around the town all stopped. Every one of them. Turned to face the sky. Eli looked up. A black hole was opening. Not a real black hole, a tear, like someone had ripped the sky in half from inside. Red lights blinked. Something was stepping through. A ship hued wrong, bent in shapes that didn't belong in this universe was coming through the hole. The architect stepped back for the first time. "We are too late." Eli's voice shook. "What is that?" The architect didn't answer. Ren did. Not a ship, not a creature, that is a probe, a scout. Of something worse. All over Earth, deep sensors lit up. Even the system's Earth had buried in the ocean, started humming. The probe dropped into the ocean near the equator. The water turned black. Life in a 1,000-mile radius vanished in minutes. Greenvale shook. The architect's voice returned. "You ended one war in 9 minutes. This war will never end." Eli watched the sky close again, but the message was clear. Something was coming, and this time, Earth wouldn't just defend. It would need to become something greater, something older, something it swore never to be again. A planet of war. The night after the architect probe landed, Earth changed. Winds moved in strange ways. Storms formed with no clouds. The animals of Greenvale stayed silent, even the insects. Something in the air felt heavy, like the planet itself was holding its breath. The sea near the equator had turned black. The probe, dropped through the tear in the sky, had not sent any message. No signal, no demand. It just sat there, silent. Inside the ocean's deepest trench, but Earth's sensors told the truth. It was alive, and it was learning. In Greenvale, Commander Ren stood at the highest point of the town, a small watchtower built to look like a Dalma weather station. He held a metal tablet in one hand. The data scrolling on it made his jaw tighten. "The probe is growing," Myra said over the comm. "How fast?" 10 meters every 12 minutes. Spreading under the water, like a root system. "Any defense working?" "No. Everything just dies when it gets close." Ren looked out at the stars. They've started the next phase. In the underground control room, Earth's AI system came online by itself. The main screen flashed red with one word. "Recommend protocol." Nightstar Myra stared at the word and stepped back. "Sir," she said to Ren, who had just entered its requesting Nightstar. Ren froze. "No," he whispered. "Not yet." That weapon should never be used. Mira looked at him. You might not have a choice. Nightstar was not a cannon, not a drone, not even a ship. It was a person, or something close to one. Back in the town square, Eli sat with Juno, his fellow young defender. The architect machines were still there, silent, standing, watching the skies. They had not moved since the tear in the sky appeared. I don't trust them, Juno whispered. Neither do I, Eli said. But they're not lying. That thing in the ocean, it's not from here. What do we do if it comes here? Eli looked around. The Guardian robots were destroyed. The final machine was gone. Protocol Hammer was on cooldown. There were no more big weapons. Then he remembered something. His grandfather's old workshop. He stood and ran. The workshop was a broken shack near the edge of the woods. No one had gone there since the battle. But when Eli entered, he saw something strange. The wall was open. A tunnel led down. He had never seen it before. He followed it at the end of the tunnel, a room. Inside, a cryopod. A coffin made of ice and steel, and in the middle, floating, was a girl. She looked about 18. Pale skin, black hair, strange marks on her arms and face that glowed like fire under her skin. Eli stepped closer. Her eyes opened. She did not gasp or scream. She just looked at him. You are Ela Wren, she said. Her voice was soft but not human. Eli nodded. Who are you? I am Nightstar. Outside, alarms sounded again. The black probe in the ocean sent its first message. Not with words, but with action. A large wave, taller than a mountain, rose from the sea and slammed into a coastal city. Everything vanished in seconds. The wave carried no water, only black sludge. Organic spreading. Hungry Earth had been struck in orbit. The Galactic Council finally believed Earth's warnings. They sent emergency transmissions, fleets, diplomats. But Earth did not reply. They were too late. In Greenvale, Wren walked into the hidden chamber and saw the pod open. Nightstar was already dressed in strange armor that shimmered like glass. Her eyes were glowing now. Her body pulsed with controlled power. Wren looked sad. I never wanted you to wake. Nightstar tilted her head. The enemy has returned, I know. You told me to sleep until Earth was dying. It's not dying yet. Nightstar stepped forward. Then I will stop it from dying. Back in the command center, Mira watched as the black ocean mass began to stretch toward the continents. Every minute it got faster. It was no longer just spreading, it was hunting. Nightstar entered the room. The machines in the walls blinked red and then blue. They recognized her. Give me a ship, she said. You can't go alone, Mira warned. Nightstar smiled. I'm not alone. She walked into the center of the room and raised one hand. A piece of her armor detached, floated, and formed. A hologram. It showed a list. 20 names. Wren's eyes widened. These are the sleepers, correct, Nightstar said. Each was built like me. I am just the first. Eli looked at the screen. They've been here the whole time. Yes. She replied, hidden in deep places, under deserts, side mountains, the bottom of oceans. We are Earth's forgotten children. Can you stop that thing? He asked. Nightstar nodded once. If we fail, no one will. Within hours, dropships were launched. One flew into the ocean trench. Nightstar stood inside alone, glowing, like a star in a steel cage. As the ship dropped, she whispered to herself, Protocol Nightstar, active. Under the sea, the black mass noticed her, and for the first time, it reacted. It sent out tendrils, long, sharp, alive. Nightstar's ship was ripped apart, but she floated down anyway, unharmed. When she touched the black surface, it tried to take her in, tried to eat her. She let it. Inside the blackness, everything was silent. No gravity, no time. Just dark liquid, trying to crush her mind. But she had no mind to crush. She was not human. Not anymore. She reached into her chest. and pulled out a starosphere of energy smaller than a fist. It pulsed once, and everything exploded. A beam of light shot out of the ocean, into the sky, through clouds, through space. It wasn't just light. It was a message to the thing watching from beyond the stars. "We see you," the black mass screamed. The ocean boiled. The sea turned clear again, and Nightstar floated back to the surface. In orbit, the council saw the blast and panicked. "Earth has a god weapon," one general said. "No," said another. "Earth has god weapons, but Earth sent no threat. No warning. Only silence." In Greenvale, Ren looked at the sky. Mira stood beside him. "It worked," she said. "For now," he replied. Eli watched the monitors as Nightstar landed nearby. She walked through the smoke and smiled. "Earth remembers," she said, but deep in space. The thing behind the probe finally opened its eyes. A red star blinked in a black system, and from its core, a whisper came. "So does the dark." Nightstar stood still in the burning remains of the ocean strike zone. Her armor steamed from the pressure. Her eyes no longer glowed. She was calm again, human-looking, but not quite human. She had survived the probe, and now she had one job. Left back in Greenvale, Commander Ren sat in the underground war room. His hands were tight around a small black key. No markings, just a smooth rectangle of metal. Myra stood beside him. "You really think it's time?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer, stared at the countdown on the main screen. 0 hours, 9 minutes, and 0 seconds. 9 minutes. That's all it would take, and the war would end. Forever, Eli watched through the glass wall as Ren placed the key into the ancient control panel. Lights blinked. Red, blue, green. Then white. Command accepted. The AI voice said. "Protocol 9-minute is now unlocked." Eli whispered to Juno, "What is the 9-minute protocol?" Juno's voice was cold. "Something they built during the first contact war, before the council. Before peace." Eli shook his head. "But what does it do?" Juno looked him in the eyes. "It deletes stars." Silence. Even the machines stopped moving for a second. Outside, space, something huge appeared. The thing behind the probe, the real enemy, had arrived. It didn't come with noise. Didn't come with a warning. It just entered the solar system like a shadow slipping through a crack in time. One of Earth's hidden. Deep space telescopes caught a blurry image. Not a ship, not a fleet, a massive shape. Like a floating city made of bones, gears, and screams. Thousands of eyes blinking in every direction. It didn't fly. It hovered, as if it was a thought made solid. The architect machines in Greenvale. All powered down at once. Nightstar turned her head slowly. "Feeling the shift in gravity?" "They're here," she said. "In the war room?" Mira stared at the growing signals. "It's not just one," she said. "There are more. Dozens of signals, maybe hundreds." They followed the energy burst from. Nightstar. Ren replied. "They've been waiting." Eli looked at the timer. 0 hours, 8 minutes and 41 seconds. "Are you really going to launch it?" he asked. Ren nodded. "We have no other choice," Mira whispered. "We swore never to use it again." "And now we break that oath," Ren said. "The 9-minute protocol was not just a weapon, it was a memory. A piece of something from Earth's darkest age. Long ago, long before Earth joined the galaxy, had created something to defend itself. A weapon so powerful, it didn't destroy ships, it destroyed timelines. Ren called it a singularity sequence. You didn't aim it at a ship. You aimed it at what the enemy once was. It rewrote their past. It erased their future. Even the enemy wouldn't remember what it had been. That's why the war ended in 9. It's because the enemy stopped existing. Nightstar walked into the war room. Her body still glowed faintly. "I will aim it," she said. "You?" Eli asked. "Yes," she replied. Only I can enter the vault. Only I can activate the sequence. Juno frowned. That vault hasn't been opened in over 2 centuries. It's still alive, Nightstar replied. I can feel it. Ren nodded. Go. She turned and walked toward the back tunnel, the one that led under the mountains. No, one else followed. Not even the AI that part of Earth's system was disconnected. For a reason, the vault was buried deeper than the oceans, deeper than magma. It sat in a pocket of space-time that wasn't supposed to exist, and inside, it held Earth's oldest, most dangerous creation, the final rewrite. As Nightstar entered the vault, she passed rows of long-dead machines. Some were broken, some still moved. All of them looked at her but said nothing. They were guardians. Once, but not for Earth. They were designed to protect the weapon from Earth itself. At the heart of the vault, a glass sphere floated. Inside, a black cube spun slowly. That cube was the 9x9 device, and it was alive. As Nightstar stepped near, it spoke in her mind. You are the last. She nodded. Yes, you carry the Earthseed. Yes. Do you choose to erase the enemy? She looked up. Far above, in orbit, the enemy had fully entered real space. It was huge, larger than Earth's moon. It had no engines. It moved by thought alone. It turned slowly toward the planet, and then it spoke not with words, but with feelings. Every human mind on Earth suddenly felt pain, cold, hunger, fear, as if their ancestors were being strangled in the past. That was how it attacked. Ren screamed. Mira fell. Juno dropped to her knees. Only Nightstar stood tall, and she whispered back, I choose. She reached out and touched the cube. The timer started again. 00900 this time. It wasn't a countdown for Earth's weapon. It was the countdown for the enemy's past, in space. The creature paused. It sensed something, a ripple, a shake in its memory. It looked down at its own hands, and it forgot. One by one. The ships in its armada disappeared. The stars behind it changed colors. The planet it once devoured never existed. History rewrote itself like soft clay, and Earth stood still. Untouched, the 9 minutes passed slowly. Each minute erased 1 century of the enemy's existence. It tried to scream, but in the new timeline, it had no mouth. In orbit, the last of its shadow faded like dust in sunlight, and it was gone, like it never came at all. Eli opened his eyes. The sky was blue again. No blood. No fire, no pain. He looked at the clock. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, then silence. Ren stood up slowly, his eyes wide with disbelief. We survived. Mira looked at the stars. They're gone. Nightstar stepped out of the tunnel. Her body was smoking. Her eyes were dim. She had used everything she had left. Eli ran to her. She smiled weakly. It's done. He caught her before she fell. What happens now? He asked. She looked up at him. Earth sleeps again, until it's needed. And with that, her eyes closed. Behind her, deep under the mountain, the vault sealed itself again, forever, or at least, until the stars forget. The sky was peaceful again. No black clouds, no enemy ships, no strange machines whispering death. Just stars, wind, and silence, but silence on Earth was never truly empty. It remembered in Greenvale. Eli sat on a small hill near the old barn. He watched the night sky. Juno was beside him, arms wrapped around her knees. They're gone, she said quietly. Eli nodded. But it doesn't feel like a victory. Because it wasn't, she replied. It was survival. The people of Earth had lived through another war, but it didn't feel like winning. It felt like breathing after almost drowning down below. The town was being rebuilt again. Families patched homes. Engineers repaired drones. Children played in the fields as if life wanted to continue, but high above Earth and the stars, the news of what happened was spreading. The Galactic Council sat in emergency session. Ambassadors, from hundreds of species filled the great hall. Holograms flickered. Arguments broke out. Fear buzzed through every corner. One word repeated again and again. Earth. They have the ability to erase civilizations. Used a Class 0 weapon. That protocol should not exist. Why didn't we stop them before? They never told us. One ambassador slammed his hand on the table. They didn't tell us, 'cause we laughed at them. Silence. He was right. The galaxy had mocked Earth, ignored it, called it a farming world and a low-tech backwater. Council had even considered cutting Earth from its protectorate list 2 years ago. Now, Earth had ended a galactic-level threat in 9 minutes. Threat no other species had even seen coming, and they had done it alone. Back on Earth, Ren stood at the memorial site just outside Greenvale. The statue of Nightstar stood in the center tall. Shining, powerful, she had not died. She had gone to sleep again. Back to the vault. Her body couldn't handle staying active forever. She was not built to live, only to protect. Ren placed a hand on the stone. She was never meant to return. He whispered. Myra approached behind him. Did the council reply? They sent 1,000 messages, Ren said. Demands, threats, apologies. Did we answer? No. He turned to her. We're not part of them anymore. In the control center, Eli looked at the growing list of messages from space. Some were kind, some were afraid. A few offered peace. But most just asked one question. What else is Earth hiding? Juno walked in and said, We need to show them the truth.
Oh.
Eli replied. They won't understand. They're scared, she said. So were we, he answered. He walked to the window and pointed at the stars. We fought with soil, steel, and silence. We warned them. They didn't listen. And now they want answers. Juno sighed. Maybe. They just want to know who we are. Eli turned slowly. His eyes were hard. Older. We're the species that remembers. And it was true. Humans never forgot pain, never forgot betrayal. They had short lives but long memories. The kind of memory that went into the bones, into the blood, into the planet itself. That's why Earth was feared now, because Earth remembered. Things the galaxy wanted to forget, like war, loss, sacrifice, and how to survive in the farthest part of the galaxy. Deep in forgotten space, an ancient listening post activated. It had been silent for 10,000 years. A mechanical voice spoke in the dark. Protocol 9 Minute has fired. And somewhere even deeper beyond known maps a machine older than. Earth turned its head. It opened its eyes and said, Earth still exists. On Earth, the soil began to hum again. The architects had returned to the forest edges, not as weapons, but as Watchers. 1 approached Eli as he walked near the crops. You used the rewrite. It said, We had no choice, Eli replied. The machine paused. There is always a choice. You chose memory. The others choose silence. Eli looked up. What does that mean? The architect's eyes glowed softly. It means Earth is dangerous, not because of its weapons, but because it remembers how to feel. Feel what? It's fear, love, grief, anger, and most dangerous of all. Eli waited hope. That night, Earth sent no messages to the stars. It did not respond to the council. It did not declare war or peace. It simply kept growing. The crops in Greenvale became stronger, the storms gentler, the animals more alert, as if the whole planet had awakened. Ren stood in his office, writing a letter. A letter not to the council, it's not to the galaxy, to Earth's children, to be read 100 years from now, it said. We are not the strongest species, not the fastest, not the oldest. But we are the only ones who grow stronger every time we are broken. The only ones who carry our dead with us not in machines, but in our stories. We are Earth. And if you ever forget who you are, remember this. The galaxy laughed at a farming colony. We ended the war in 9 minutes. He signed it. Commander Wren, Defender of Greenvale. It had been 1 year since the 9-minute war. Greenvale was quiet again. The crops grew taller. The skies were clear. No more strange ships, No more distant threats. Just the sound of wind, birds, and children laughing in the fields. But deep, underground in the old war room, something new was happening. A seed was being sent. Not a real seed, a message. Ren stood before the ancient transmitter. It was older than any ship. It could send a signal not just across the galaxy, but across time itself. The vault had built it before going dark again. Night Star's final gift. Mira, Eli, and Juno stood beside Ren. "Are you sure?" Mira asked. Ren nodded. "It's time. The galaxy fears us, but we're not monsters. Let them see who we really are." Juno held the small black cube in her hand. "This is the last one." Eli leaned in. "What does it say?" Juno looked down at the glowing cube. "It doesn't." "Say anything, then. What's in it?" She smiled softly, a story. The transmitter hummed. Lights blinked in slow patterns. The cube was placed into the core. And Earth sent out one final signal, not a warning, not a threat, just memory. It was the story of Greenvale, of the colony that everyone laughed at, of the farmers who became defenders of, the planet that stood alone, of the girl who walked into fire, came out made of light, of Night Star. The seed flew through space faster than light, was caught by probes, satellites, and listening posts. Hundreds of species received it. Many expected a weapon. But when they opened the cube, they found something else. A simple, quiet voice. Once they laughed at Earth, then images. Not of destruction, but of families. Of children in dirt fields. Of machines building houses. Humans helping aliens escape fires. Of a woman placing her hand on a dead enemy and saying no more. And finally the words, "We are not here to rule, we are here to grow." Across the galaxy, leaders watched in silence. Some cried, some grew afraid, but a few understood. On a small moon near the edge of the council space, a young alien girl held the cube close. She didn't care about politics or weapons. She just whispered, "I want to go there." Her mother looked confused. "Go where?" The girl smiled. "To the planet that remembers." Back on Earth, Eli walked through the fields. The crops had changed. Taller, deeper roots. Some even glowing faintly. The soil was richer, now full, of energy left behind by the vault, and not just crops. Ideas were growing too. Juno and Myra had started a school, not to teach war but to teach history, to show young ones what Earth had been and what it could become. Not perfect, but real. A place where memory lived in every stone and every scar. Commander Ren, older now, sat beneath the great tree of the valley. His hair had turned silver. Eyes still sharp. He smiled as he watched a child climb the branches. Earth had not fired another weapon. It hadn't needed to. It had done something far more dangerous. It had inspired ships from faraway colonies now visited in peace. Scientists came to study the soil. Writers came to learn Earth's stories. Some stayed, some even became farmers. The galaxy no longer laughed at Earth, but they still didn't fully understand it because they couldn't see the final part of the story, the one only Earth knew, far below the surface, where the vault lay sleeping. The old machine stirred. Not because of danger, but because of hope. Night Star still rested, her body in stasis. But around her something had changed. The room glowed. Green. A tree had begun to grow. Not a normal tree. A tree made of light and memory. Roots of crystal. Leaves of data. And in the center of it, a single human heartbeat pulsed. It was the last seed, not a weapon, not a defense, a beginning. One day, Earth would die, like all worlds, but the seed would remain. And when the stars were old and time had forgotten the names of kings and empires, someone, somewhere, would find that seed, and Earth would bloom again. Final line. In the end, they laughed at Earth. But Earth just smiled and planted something they could never kill.